This is the best weekend market review on the internet for Friday, March 10th, 2023.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your weekend market review for Friday, March 10th, 2023. Amazing week, epic week. Being patient, letting the evidence play out. That's what we do. Again, being evidence-based traders, not confused by all the noise, the intraday action, staying focused on how the charts are relaying the evidence to what is to eventually come, and when it comes, capitalizing on it. Hope you did really well. If you did, congratulations. If you're not, if you're struggling, please reach out. Again, the hardest thing about trading is patience. Everybody believes when they get in a trade, it has to happen now. They don't have the ability to understand that there's only so many days, maybe weeks in the market that actually move big in one direction, up or down. And if you can capitalize on those, you can make your month, your quarter, your year pretty quickly. Hopefully, folks are taking advantage of stuff. I am extremely proud of the people growing mentally. As I've always said, trading will expose all of your weaknesses and make you great if you can understand yourself, because most people do not understand themselves, me being one for at a period of time, meaning understanding how the market and my relationship with it are ultimately manipulated, whatever you want to, by the emotions, by the market makers, and how really easy it can become ultimately if you're a patient. Define your risk, have no ego, stop pretending that you're omnipotent when you're winning, just always taking one trade at a time, knowing that you're only as good as your next trade. So that little rant, again, very happy for folks. If you want to join the Discord room, please, if you're going to join, say hello, get involved. I know some people say, I can't post a ton, I want to be involved. Try the best. Again, if you want to be great at this, you have to give maximum effort. I say this all the time. You do not show up to anything great. If you want to be great at something, you have to love it. You have to love the process. You have to want to do what? Outwork the other people. Again, trading is not hard, executing is. And typically people can learn how to trade very quickly, but how to execute, why the rules are what they are, this is what this room is for. So I appreciate the love and support and the generous donations. They made me smile, because I know, again, I always tell people, like, I don't expect anything from anyone. I want people to win. And if you realize that your tuition bill ends up being cheap, in a sense of that you didn't have to learn from your own mistakes, you learned from mine, to other people in the room, then you're taking it to the next level. And again, it just takes time. It'll take time. You won't get to where you want to get to in one day, 1 week, 1 month, maybe even a year. Also, follow on Twitter, posting constantly about what's going on. If you're not familiar with what's going on with Silicon Valley Bank, yeah, they just rug pulled it. And FDIC insurance only covering $16 billion of deposits, another, $170 billion not. The evidence was pointing to some sort of mechanism. People always go, why is the market dropping? Sometimes you don't figure out the why till later, hence why you have stops, define risk. Again, all of the bulls, never ending. We'll talk about how we know we're not at the bottom yet, but we'll continue on when we get there. If you're new to trading, it is OPSX next week. Be aware, pin action. What is it? Why does it matter? And also, too, just options expiration. What is it? Why does it matter? Please spend a few minutes, watch the videos. If I appreciate a like, leave a comment too, because I like the feedback in these videos, but also subscribe. I will do live chats multiple times a week. Be involved. Again, I don't expect that. It's like people are like, oh, I got a basketball, I can go play basketball and execute and win at it. No, trading is hard to learn. Like that basic portion of it, for you to like get dialed in, you're gonna have to give more than a minimal effort. Bitcoin, as we warned, looked like a head and shoulders top. Well, you broke the shoulder lines. You broke this support. I mean, it's into what I would consider hopefully long-term support range. Do I want to buy it? No, I think there's better opportunities in the markets acting on them. Oil was up today. This is not good. The Feds cannot like this. If they want to see rates come down and inflation come down, they need oil to get slapped. It holding up, a little scary, because if it starts rallying, now the Feds are really going to have some conundrums to fight with, because again, you have insolvency in banks, you have the federal government, literally paying, we have more interest I mean, whatever interest, part of interest as a amount of our actual debt and servicing it is insanely expensive. They need lower rates, and if they have to keep rates higher for longer, natural gas, yeah. As I said, I mean, I try to warn people, and this is the thing, when you trade, and you can just be neutral. Neutral is not easy. Most people are emotional. Most people are committed to what their beliefs are. No, most people cannot admit when they're wrong, and that's why they fail. This is what I'm trying to explain with natural gas. As much as I might think it might be a bottom, do I want to trade it? Was there better trades than natural gas? Yeah, in my opinion, there were. Now, what do I think? Chop, slop, leave it alone. All right, dollar. Let's talk about it, because a lot of people are like, whoa, the dollar down and the market down. I'm so confused. Well, if you've been paying attention, we talked about it. If you study 2008, 2009, if the market, the U.S. economy is on the verge of doing dangerously bad things, then yes, the dollar will collapse. But if the world is on the verge and the U.S. is stronger, then sometimes the dollar goes higher. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, well, let's pull up the monthly. 2008, dollar rallied, then crashed, right, into 2009, right? When did it peak, if I remember correct? Yeah, it peaked right around when the market did in April 2009. Now, look at the volatility in the dollar. Remember, that's what we were talking about. Watch for volatility, because it got super loose, and then obviously the money printer came on and the dollar went weaker. But volatility, could we spike back up? We'll see. Again, I mean, personally, I'd rather own the dollar than any other currency at this moment, but times will change. TSLA. The bond market. All right, well, what do we say? Volatility in the bond market. How many times have I screamed? Be careful. The biggest outstanding short I've seen in the bond market in forever leads to a squeeze. What happened in 2008, right? Bond yields went actually lower. The TLT spiked higher. Because why? People were scared. Remember, we talked about the inversion in the yield curve for like weeks. It's just coming, a matter of time. Well, here was the evidence, and we talked about, okay, again, trust Dan's charts. Seems like a nice guy, but man, I don't like to pick on people, but I know when people, I can tell they're emotional. Like, he's like, oh, the bonds are going to get smoked here. And it's like, look at the action. Stopping power, novice gap, professional gap. And people go, well, the macro, the micro, what? Just try to follow the evidence. Today's action, is that a professional gap? We'll see. Now, again, I think it becomes very obvious if yields come back to this 99 area, set an alert, because it might be time to buy bonds. Or, I know this sounds like chasing, but if this is a big base, maybe yields are going lower and TLT could be a buy from the 108. Maybe it just pops 10 points, 15 points. Remember, 2008, TLT went from 92 to 124 in 2 months. Well, I mean, 30% take you to 130. That's not a bad trade. I mean, I'm going with the flow here. If there's a huge outstanding short interest in the bond market, if there's going to be a time to squeeze it, a bank run might be it. Just keeping this in the back of your mind. OPEX next week. Hello, the VIX. I don't remember seeing it spike to 29. Is this a misprint? I guess it did get there at one point. Either way, what did we say? These were gifts down here. Payday, compression, kapow. Well, a bank run with a peak of 29? I don't believe that for a minute. Not for a minute. And again, people are like, how do you know the bear market's not over? I'm not trying to humiliate you, but we've seen bigger spikes in the VIX with less. You really think this is the bear market's over? Get out of here. At worst, a spike up into the 47 range. And honestly, if it's going to be the big kahuna smasher, you're talking about we got a long ways to go. 24 is not the peak. 29 is not the peak. Now, again, could be some volatility. Could be some vol crush next week, right? It's OPEX. If you trade around your positions, you have cash. Could you go long? You potentially could. Pick your spots. Pick your spots well. Or, as I'm probably going to do, I'm not probably going to do, I'm just going to wait for spots to short. That's kind of how I look at it. I think a one-day banking crisis? I don't think so, Tim. Anyway, keep an eye on it. The VIX, held the 100-day at the lows. I don't know. Watch this back. Watch the 23s. I think that's probably next support. SPY! Congratulations if you're around Discord this morning. What did we say? Watch the 387. It bounced, rallied back to the 200-day, kapow. I mean, it takes the steps down. It's very technical. Oh, it's emotional always. No, it's pretty technical. You can see it today when it popped up in the first hour. If you took money, and again, this is what I love about when you have the trend. People are like, how do you know the market's going lower? Lower highs, 20-day. We talked about this. We talked about this left-right combo. Again, I hate to sound like revisionist, but go watch the previous videos. I'm not just sitting here going, oh, I'm right now. No. We nailed this. We talked about this, the novice gap, trap, chop, and fail. And then, of course, the first dip gets bounced or bought, and then the 20-day. How do you know that? What happens? All the time. All the time. I hate to like sound aggressive, but it's just, man, answer the same questions 5,000 times. It's like, where are people at? Now what? Is this over? Probably not. I still think you get back into this 380, 375 range. He just broke it with volume. With volume. Now, could it be capitulatory? I mean, someone might argue that, but big volume. But is there a reason to? I mean, think about, and this is what I think. When a bank run starts, and not even a bank run, but just think about all of the players and the different dominoes that get wiped out here. $160 billion of FDIC insured savings gone. How many other billions of dollars are going to be moving around and taking profit at some point, or scared to replenish cash, whatever they need to do? And they're not the only bank that has issues. Again, it'll be prepared at some point. You will get oversold rallies back to the 20-day when it curls down. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow you get down here and then you pop back to here and then you go lower. Remember, either way, the more it's down, the more you should take profit, right? Now it's down some, and it looks like this next wave continuation. But, right, could it pop for a couple days, 2 days? I don't know. It's OPEX. Yeah, I mean, again, the Feds are screwed here. We've said this 1,000 times. Name one time the Feds have actually navigated a soft landing. Well, luckily, I'm not going to wait here for the answer, because the answer is never. QQQ. Tech, it's your time. Taking out the lows. Been holding up better. Look out below. Again, tech loses the tech war. Remember, commodities, ultimately long term. And look what was holding up today. Commodities. Money will slosh around. People don't. Again, I don't even want to repeat that. It's over and over and over and over and over. IWM, we talk about watch for it lagging. Look at that, 20-day. 20-day and Kapowski. Kelly Kapowski. Right? Hate the Saved by the Bell reference, but it's just like, all right, not looking good. And we talked about like when it engulfed at the 20-day and the other parts of the market were holding up. I'm like, that's not good. And then when it got to the lows and broke it yesterday, it was like, that's not good. Well, yeah. Now, I know fear, greed, indicators, whatever, might be slightly oversold, but remember, just like you can go higher than you think, you also can go lower. Market isn't rational. These nuts. Took out the lows. Where's my man Harry? Talking about any year you take out the December lows in the first quarter does not lead to goodness. Well, also 2 years ending in 3 usually have an March-April swoosh. Well, there's the DIA taking out the lows. Is it a one-day event? I would think not. Remember, everybody got bullish at the highs. Is everyone bearish yet? I think more in this like fear and not sure kind of thing, right? People buy high and they sell low, right? I'm not seeing everyone going, the world's going to end. Now, again, we're probably due for a little bounce at some point, but guess what? Look at the sentiment. If people are going, that's the bottom, that's the bottom, that's the bottom, guess what? It's not, right? At the bottom, they're going to be like, I hate stocks. Remember? Do you guys remember October? Do y'all remember this like very vividly? Like we tried to explain why we were buying then. Everybody's going crazy, giving up. The end of the world. It's like, well, the world hasn't ended yet. It doesn't have a good track record of ending. And then we bounced. Gold. As I try to impart on folks, as much as I don't want to trade gold because I think there's better trades, I said do not short gold. Be careful here. Look at today's action. Is this a professional gap start of the move? Now again, if things get calmer, it should pull back. If it doesn't, either way, I still think the baby goes out with the bathwater at some point. Do I want to go long gold at this point? I will pass. But I will not be shorting it either. I still have dust. But look at silver. laggy piece of doggy poo-poo. GDXJ, I wasn't trying to be mean to the folks who are chasing the dust. I probably should have added some at whatever 14s today. But you know what? I think NVIDIA, semiconductors, Apple, Tesla, Taiwan Semi, Meta, First Solar, Amazon, Microsoft, AMD, financials, better short. But I still have my core dust on because I do know this. But Dan, what are you going to show us now? Let's go to the videotape. When the market gets smoked, miners can get smoked too, right? Just keep that in mind. How much smoking are we going to get? I don't know. I'm willing to ride out my core position, but trade around it, I find there's better trades. AG. This was up today, huge. No. Just meh. AEM. Meh. Pop, flop. Newmont. Such a beast. Meh. No. Wiccan. Wiki. No. Pass. Long wick. Meh. Now, again, I'm always going to get the questions from people. Well, what about now? Well, again, if you haven't been paying attention, you haven't been involved, and you don't know what's going on, right? What did you miss? You missed all the great opportunities, potentially short financials, tech, whatever. The stuff that we've been talking about. I just don't know if I would. Again, this word pivot means something. It means the ability to change one's mind and move on to other things. Oh, I have to trade the miners? Well, okay. Well, good luck with that. Not always. I tell people there's only certain times of the year that I really trust buying or selling the miners. There's a lot of chop. AM Dizzle. What did we talk about? Yesterday's candle. Long wick. Uh-oh. Lower highs. Uh-oh. Semiconductors at some point. Get out. Get it out. Get out of here. Taiwan Semi. Congrats if you entered yesterday or on even this pop. Breaking the 50-day. Uh-oh. NVIDIA. Man, nice trade today if you sold out around the 50-day, which, hello. And then re-shorted on the pop. Hello. More like goodbye. And not as a goodbye. I was watching Intel today. We'll talk about them because, again, this piece of junk is so down. It's like they're not even shorting Intel anymore. They're like, we'll just move on. And this is what sometimes happens is absolute turds can rally when the market's about to dump because it's already down. Get down again. Like, this thing is just duh. But, I mean, do you really want to buy it? Sure, buy the miners. The same person will say, well, should I buy this? It's like, yeah, buy the miners. SMH. First dip gets bought. Flop-tastic. I mean, again, they're going to try to protect chips, but if the economy's slowing and recession's coming and job layoffs are coming and the feds are not going to navigate a soft landing, semiconductors are going to hold up. I'd watch the 50-day because it'll be there. 235. Again, if you bought the Soxes today in the 20s, high five. Nice work. Very nice work. Very nice work. Congratulations. Yeah, let's continue going through tech. Adobes. We talked about the 50-day. Kapow. I mean, again, just doesn't look that good, does it? Apple. If you traded around this slight, I know it wasn't a huge range, but man, definitely did when it popped back to the 20-day. Who's there with a bat? Market makers and Dan with a little put action and a little short action. Love it. I mean, again, watch the 200-day. Fill the gap. Lower highs, lower lows. We talked about this being the Goldman Buddy Pass. I say it every time. When Goldman upgrades at highs and downgrades at lows, do the opposite. Be prepared. Amazon. Piece of crap. People were talking about buying them like this thing has no lift in it, but you want to buy it. Okay, CRM. Hey, congrats to the folks who got up in there. Got up in them guts. Shorten it up here because, man, that's how you want to see a downtrend look. All red. Rojo. Now you hit the 20-day. Could it bounce? I don't know. Maybe if the market does. Google. Everybody wants to buy this thinking they got the AI of the future. No, they don't. Everybody has AI. Telling you right now, Google, they can't maintain market share. Again, if anything, it's just AI is everywhere. So please don't even bring that at me, bro. It's still trading. I mean, I guess you could say it's cheap, 20 times next year's earning, but 20 times is pretty expensive compared to like all these commodity companies I've been trading at low single-digit PEs for years. Tech war, who wins it? Not. Lower highs. Meta trying to hold up on the TikTok ban. Well, what happens when they don't get banned? What happens if they do get banned? I mean, either way, adding up here, adding, trading around it because it hasn't failed yet. Watch the 20-day. I said watch the 20-day. Watch the 20-day because if it can get below it and get below 170, that gap feels rapido. Microsoft hit the 20-day, right? 50-day. Keep an eye on it. NDAQ. I wish I would still short this. Look at this thing. We talked about it up here. Missed it. What happened? Why is the NASDAQ, the exchange where all tech is held, acting like crap? Because somebody knows that in the future, nobody's going to be trading tech stocks. People go, oh, you're a soothsayer. You know the future. No, I just know repeating patterns. And this is not what you want to own. Tech. Well, whatever. No one will listen. MicroStrategy. Who shorted this up in the 300 range? Because if you did, real man of genius. Hell yeah. Because again, I mean, look at this thing. I mean, even the market bounce is like got nothing. Things that aren't bullish. Netflix. Oh, so badly screwed this one up. Thought we'd bounce here. Oh, but technical analysis is correct. No, the goal is not. Technical analysis is not always correct. There's an art to this. And when the market's going lower, it did not go up. And even when the market was going up, it did not go up. That was technically bearish. Still going lower, whatever. Roblox, somebody's got a roof on it. Every time it gets in the upper 41s. Tesla. All right, let me rant on this for a second. People are talking about shorting it today. It'd be like shorting Netflix. Again, I think it does go lower in time. But don't you want a little bounce before you short it? Again, I mean, it's like adding dust at 16. Like, please don't do that. Let it bounce. Like, let the GDX bounce, then short it. Again, I'm not trying to be mean to folks, but it's just like chasing, trading in between swing points, dangerous. Now, again, if it continues to fall, someone's like, oh, so you messed me up. And it's like, no, I didn't mess you up because this is what I would do in a downtrend, right? I'd wait for a little bounce to short it, not one day. Just keep that in mind. Let's get into commodities. Good old letter X, U.S. Steel, pointing the way. We talked about it, making a slightly higher high, bull trap. If the market's healthy, this thing should have broken out. Instead, it rolled over. Rough. New core. Double top. If market's strong, should break out. Breaking down. Rough. A lot of dogs here, as you guys can say. Caterpillar, what? No, that was going to... That ain't good. As we talked about, and this is the thing, being humble, being honest about just, hey, something technical analysis. Like, I want people like, oh, you have to follow the technicals always. No, there's an art to trading. People are like, why are you early sometimes? Well, sometimes this is what happens. You wait for a spot and it doesn't hit, and then this thing drops 25 points. Ouch. However, it just confirms rough, dogs. VALE, going nowhere. Breaks the 100-day. You can say adios, amigos. Arrow, copper tone. We talked about this one chopping at the highs. This looks very distributive. Again, I mean, I'm not shorting commodities, just use them as references for evidence. We like the tech shorts. This is going to get ugly if it can't get higher. CCJ, everybody loves uranium. Meh, not so much. Not this guy. Wow, look at freaking CF and some of these ag names. You guys know I have a secret desire to see some of these I guess it's not agrium anymore, right? It's nutrium. Seeing these ag names come on down. And when I say come on down, again, I'm going to move this box, as you guys can see. I'd prefer it to get down to the 618. I think that would be epic. Whew. Again, I believe in food long term. No, just in general, the commodity tech bubble, right? These names, if you don't remember, here, let me show you on the monthly. These things went absolutely gangbusters. From 2000 and what is it? Oh, sorry. If you guys remember in the 2000s, CF $2 up to 34. Remember, there's a lot of splits, but do the math. A couple 1,000%. Or no, actually, what is it? Yeah. That's a big move. It looks like, again, if you could see somewhere around the old swing points, again, swing points matter, zones matter. I think that's a good buying opportunity because these guys, again, inflation entrenches, you're going to see food costs continue to ultimately rise. These people are going to be able to charge more, right, for the inputs. We talked about, again, Mosaic. Like, hey, it looks like it's going to break out. Kapow. Wow. Wrong. And wrong meaning, again, if the market's strong, this stuff, it should be like holding high and tight. You know what I say? Hold high and tight is not necessarily bearish, right? Because sometimes you chop before you go higher. This thing just went straight up, straight down. Not good for if you're bullish. Again, more bearish stuff. It's just NTR. Same thing. Hits the 200-day, makes a lower high. Fail. Alcoa. Now again, Boeing announced some news today. They're going to be able to continue building Dreamliners. Aluminum didn't think it was a good idea. No, just in general, if the market's going down, a rising tide lifts all boats. What does a lowering tide go? When the tide goes out, surfs up. Not really in that way. XLF. All right, let's get into this one because, again, this has been an amazing trade. We talked about it, the upside target zone. It chopped, took time, failed. First bounce got bought. We talked about the 20-day. If you bought the FAS, FAZ, and shorted FAS like I did, now again, now I only have my core, traded around it. Remember, all in. If you go check the previous post-twits, so they were like all in. 36.20, got to 36, whatever, 24, I think I remember. Oh, 4 pennies. That's about as close as you're ever really going to get in trading to perfection. Because again, you just want to be in the right zone. It's like getting pocket aces. You just want to get a raise in. You want to get you want to get the cash in the table. All in necessarily might not be the best play, but it was here, right? Lower high, 20-day, kapow. Now we're at support. Now our people are freaking out. Well, let it do what it does. Like maybe it just needs like a couple day bounce. Where would it bounce to? Set your alerts to what? It should be very obvious. Probably the 200-day, somewhere around 34. Take notes, please take notes. I'm amazed how traders literally are flying blind. And I was trying to hammer on people in the Discord room. If you don't have your systems and you're just literally winging it, there's way too many variables, way too much stuff going on just to fly by the seat of your pants. That's not how you should be trading. Anyway, look for the bounce. I'd say probably 200-day, maybe the 0.382. I don't know. Now that the down move is confirmed, actually, let's redraw the fibs. Just thought about it as I was sitting here watching it. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, well, that's close enough for government work at 0.618. All right, maybe 0.382. Watch the fibs. Again, I'd watch 34 area. JP Morgan up today. Great. I guess they got off of Epstein Island. Oops, can I say that? Probably not. This is the thing about some of these bigger banks. As money's coming out of junior banks, where's it going? Now, is that temporary? We'll see. It's pretty random. It seems not pretty. It seems random to folks to see this up today, but JP, Justin Pulitzer, give him credit for this. I mean, it makes sense. If people are taking money out of small banks, imagine they're going where? The Chase. Now, does this necessarily mean like it's going higher? They probably have some exposure, some issues, potentially coming counterparty risk. I think they have Credit Suisse counterparty risk. SpaghettiOs. Oh, shiitake. Yeah, I'm watching that 135 because I think you can drop a hammer on that. I think Jamie Dimon's about to be under investigation for some stuff too. It's about to get wild. Morgan Stanley. It's going to be a wild day. Remember we talked about head and shoulders, top, left shoulder, right shoulder. Here's your head. Technical analysis worked here and failure. Now where to? I mean, probably so. I said yesterday, probably in the mid 80s. Goldman slacks. I'm putting money in Marcus. I'm not too worried about them. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's Goldman. They could go out. I'm like, they're not going out of business. But also keep in mind, Buffett's got, I think, $180 billion of cash. He's heavily invested in Goldman. He'd love to buy and get involved for cheap. He's not going to let them fail. Plus, they're probably too big to fail in general. However, you never know for sure. If you are leaving money in bank accounts, please keep them under the FDIC limits. Once you go over $250,000, good luck. Good luck. If the shit talk hits the fan, again, probably don't want to cuss, but just seriously, if you got more than $250 and a bank goes belly up, you might not get all of your deposits. Just keep that in mind. And it could take time. So that's where if you have the ability to move in and out of a bank, if you have banking relationships and you want to get in some that are probably more secure, then you probably need to look at banks that have stable balance sheets that are very boring or too big to fail. Maybe it's Chase. I don't know. Who knows? Watch this 0.618. Don't be surprised. Little bouncy bounce. Maybe it fills the gap. 341. Keep it on your radar. Wow, XBI. Everybody loves bio, right? We're like, no, we don't. Nope. Breaking the range lows. Look at that. The volume kicked in here. We'll see what happens. Could it bounce? And then here's my favorite trade for short. Just like the first bounce gets bought, when you hit a support zone and then you bounce, if we break this, don't go chasing waterfalls. No, actually go chasing waterfalls. Meaning, in a sense, like just watch that what happens. Because if you can short it on a bounce and then it breaks, the range low, say just throw 75 on it. kapow. Like this thing could go right back to 61 before you know it. I mean, just with a blink of an eye. Like you literally blink and it's there. All right, solar. Hello. Tan your hide. We talked about this failing up in the 80s. Now again, people are like, oh, that's such a wide zone. It's like, well, I don't make the zones. I'm just watching it. Again, I thought a lower high was coming. There it was. Congratulations. ENPH. I've talked about the stock a million times. Like, it doesn't bottom when everyone loves it. It just doesn't. It just means it's chopping before it drops. And here's an example, just like if you want to reference like XBI. Like, after a big drop, you get this choppy action. If it takes out this 197, it could head right. I don't know. It's heading south. That's where my direction. Sedge, if you shorted this in the 330, 340 range, you are looking for the next move here. And again, chop leads to big moves. If you break this 268, man, this thing could come right back down to the 199er real quick. First Solar, gotta thank my dad. I always tell him my trades. I'm always very transparent. Try to advise folks. He goes, why are you shorting First Solar? It looks really strong. I'm like, yep, you just confirmed we're at the top. Because again, that's what the market does. It paints a picture to get you to do the wrong thing. Gets you to hold longer. It gets you to raise your price targets. It makes you think it's going to the moon before the direction changes, right? Well, not surprising. I mean, if you look at this action, again, solar going into potential recession. I mean, who the hell is adding solar? And if you don't know the past on solar, especially First Solar, which is a favorite of mine, just these are monthly candles. I mean, 274 down to 99. Again, this thing can do a bargain bin basement drop from Walmart very quickly, right off. So end it with oil and gas as we always do. Again, this has got to be frustrating the feds because you would think oil would be down here. It's holding up. Natural gas, again, byproduct of drilling for the most part. They burn it off and they waste it sometimes. I think, don't trust me. I think it's going to chop, but at some point it will rally because it is part of the commodity upswing. That will come. We all know it. XOP, here's an example. Just like I said with XBI, like you hit the range, and you bounce. And this has been a super choppy sloppy, but man, if it takes out 125, adios, amigos. ExxonMobil, here's another warning sign. Again, things that aren't bullish. Again, all evidence-based. That's why if you're watching the recaps, and there's probably only a couple hundred of you every day to do, but the couple hundred do, man, I know for a fact the education is kicking in. It makes sense. Again, you see the evidence-based trading versus just emotion-based bullcrap. Where again, go in StockTwits, FinTwits, all these damn Discord rooms. They're all promising this, and gamble that. Where do they all end up? Back at zero. People who are doing what are learning this, they're learning. And people are like, oh, how are you doing, Dan? I'm doing well. Don't worry about me. Trust me. Worry about yourself. In the sense of, I'll survive. I have my rules for a reason. Again, if you want my rules, you can follow them in the Discord room. Here you go, 100-day. Talked about breaking out. This is the monthly trend line. It's in yellow. I don't know why I just chose yellow. Here, I'll show you where it's on the monthly since it's the weekend recap. Look at that. Everyone thinks it's going higher. I mean, I got trolled pretty hard saying it's breaking out. And I'm like, oh, that might be a novice gap and trap. Well, if you don't know what a novice gap is, again, watch the Back to Basics videos. Kelly Kapowski. I mean, it looks like it's about to bust. We'll see what happens. PXD. No, I'm not going there just yet. Occidentals, keep the order. Again, my PXD friend is trolling hard. I mean, again, if you don't hear from me in a couple days, there's a guy who's literally psychotically probably losing his brain on PXD who probably thinks that I'm the Antichrist because I'm like, I don't think it's going higher, bud. Just saying that. He thinks it's my fault. Crazy people out there. Anyway, Occidental. It's an Occident that maybe after ex-dividend, Warren Buffett sold tons of calls. Either way, it just looks choppy, sloppy. In that circumstance, what do? You move on.org. PX Dizzle. Let's go to it then. Well, we talked about this level. Okay, so here's another example, like XBI, like, right? You break below it, you make a little come back. Uh-oh. Right? Like, it gets everybody who bought down here trapped. Everybody who unloaded is going, no, I don't want to play with it. That's how you can get 0 to 60 down fast. Just like a Tesla. Bam. Fast. All right, let's end it with EQT and Flex LNG. EQT, man, this looks like an M pattern. Mutton. This might take a rabbit run down in the 20s. Keep an eye on it. Again, I mean, I'm not shorting this stuff. I think tech is an easier short, but oil and gas, they just confirm weakness. Flex hits the range highs up, what, 34, 35, what was it? Oh, 30, 35, coming back down. All right, last little rant. Again, please be smart in the market. I try to warn people all the time. Your ego is not your amigo. You got to be thoughtful. You got to have your rules. You got to have your disciplines. People are like, oh, I just want to copy you and do what you're doing. I mean, but can you? Do you want me to? Should I copy you? And essentially what I mean that is like everyone's personality is different. Everyone's risk tolerance is different. People react to being down differently. People react to being up differently. Everyone has emotional wiring differently. When it comes to trading, no different than, say, poker, everyone has a style that they fit in, tendencies that they typically repeat. And when you have that, again, your risk management will probably depend on how well you adhere to your rules and your discipline. So be thoughtful, be smart, define your risk, be the trader you want to be, just like be the person you want to be ultimately. But it takes time. You're not going to get there in 3 weeks. I always laugh at people who show up, again, like that analogy. I got a basketball. I'm going to go play in the gym and see if I can beat some folks in basketball. No, you're going to be terrible at it. Well, same thing with trading. If you don't have an understanding of risk management, you don't have a control of your emotions, you read the news and you get fired up left, right, all over the place, you're not going to do well in trading. Because, again, the market maker is meant to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people. You have to understand that. And if you understand that, and that's like your basis, you start reverse engineering how this works. That's how I help folks. That's how you can help yourself. So I appreciate all the generous donations. Man, tons of donations. Again, I hope people absolutely slam it. Again, I don't charge for this because I don't care. I know, just like you can tee up. Tiger Woods can teach you how to play golf. Coaches can teach you how to do that. Your personal trainer can teach you how to get in shape. Again, you can give people the knowledge, they won't execute it. So that's why I don't ever charge. I don't care. I don't want to be responsible because I have done that before. I've been a personal coach. I've also managed money. It's absolutely terrible. I'd rather people figure it out on their own and just learn from my mistakes, learn from their mistakes, gain the education to get where they're going to go, because then it's theirs. You don't rely on me. You don't rely on anyone else ultimately. Because, again, your style is going to be different, what you prefer to do. Maybe you only want to trade certain things certain times of the year. Maybe you want to trade more. Again, I don't like to day trade. You might. That's not my cup of tea. I don't play for cookies, just like I never sit down in a poker game for $5. It's just a waste of time. Time is money. Be smart. So, again, thank you for the donations. Be smart. Be thoughtful. Have the damn journal. I'm telling you, write down your emotions. Write how you feel when the market's acting certain ways, and just learn how to exist in this market. Because, again, you're trying to do what the market is doing, not what you want it to do. Because, again, ultimately, if those two align, then you're good. But if you're trying to impress upon the market to do certain things, that's how you fail. Because all it takes is, again, we have an 80 to 90% win rate. I tell that people think I'm bragging. I'll go, but you know what I'm always more concerned about? What do I do when I lose? And it's no different than like in poker. If I lose, I try to hopefully minimize the losses and I don't get wiped out. Because I'm not there to just gamble to gamble. Yes, there is risk to be, there is always going to be a gambling proponent of this. But again, if you know the odds, you know how to read your opponents, you know how to read the market, put yourself in a position to win. All right, have a great weekend. Holler at you later. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.